Pure Prairie League and Bad Company. You're listening to 102.3 WHTL in Whitehall, Wisconsin. It's Wednesday, time for Open House with Hanson Realty Group.
It's time for the open house on WHTL.
What are you, some kind of real estate agent?
You're joking, right? I don't joke about real estate.
With the Hanson Real Estate Group.
I never understood why people are so afraid to eat at an open house.
I know.
The open house starts right now.
And it does. It's Wednesday, which means we talk real estate. And I'm being joined by one of the pros from Hanson Realty Group, Josh Baecker. Good morning.
Good morning, Mark. How are you doing today?
I'm pretty good. Good to see you, Josh. How are you?
I'm good. Good to see you as well.
You ready for maybe a little snow next week?
Oh, you're never really ready, but you know what's coming eventually.
Well, hunting season, so, that seems about right. I'm sure probably the hunters are going to go, yeah, I could handle that, so.
Yep, I could use a little bit. I don't mind a little bit for deer hunting, but not too much.
Not too much, exactly. And but, hey, it's Wisconsin. You never know what's going to happen. My part of the world out in Colorado, they got buried. They had almost like blizzards going on out in eastern Colorado. So, and I'm surprised it didn't move up here, but.
Yeah, they got pounded earlier out west in like Idaho and Montana and Wyoming earlier. That was a couple weeks ago, I think. So it's starting early out there.
Yeah, but if you live out, it changes immediately. So you can have a foot of snow and 2 days later you're on a golf course. So you never know.
That is true.
You want to talk about scams.
Yeah.
Are people trying to scam people still?
Oh, always.
Always.
Just getting worse.
And real estate, you don't think about real estate scams. You really don't. You get those messages, oh, your package has been delayed, you need to click here. That's a scam. You get the, we need you to verify your bank account. That's a scam. Everything, usually they're pretty easy to spot. But real estate, that might be a new one.
Yeah, and you don't think of it as much in real estate just because, it's not an instant transaction. You have to sign a contract and get title work done and go through closing. And I mean, I call them scams. To me, they're scams because they're just trying to get a few people to fall for the lowball prices. I'm sure a lot of the listeners out there have received, if you own property or parcels in the country, you've received things in the mail, letters in the mail saying, hey, we'd like to buy usually it's vacant parcels. So if you own a few and you got 140 in the back that's vacant, that'll be the one that they send you letters on. They seem to target vacant parcels. But I think it's because in the back of people's minds it's, well, if we don't use it, maybe we'll sell it. So
what do they do? Do they comb the land records of a given area and find out who owns that property and then send them letters? What's the objective for them to for you to send them money? Is that the objective, or what are they trying to do? Buy the property at a really low price?
Yeah, they're definitely not market prices that they send you, and their goal is to get you to sign the contract that they send with the letter and mail it back to them. Because I think we've talked in real estate before. Offers to purchase are legally binding documents. So when you sign, it's not like a handshake deal where you could just change your mind the next day, you get buyer's remorse. They can take you to court and will probably win. So it's I always caution people, even when we're writing offers, to remember that it's a legally binding contract.
So what's their objective? Is it to buy the property at rock bottom prices and then they can turn around and sell it? Is that what it is?
Yep, correct. They're either going to turn around and sell it right away. They might, if it's a tillable 40 or something, they might rent it out or lease it out, or they just hold on to them over time and knowing, land prices are always on the rise, the overall trend. So they'll hold on to it for 5-10 years and then sell it for even more in the future.
Interesting.
But how they get the parcels, I don't know, because I have friends that own multiple vacant land parcels, and a lot of times they only get one letter, one or two, and then the other day I know somebody that got a letter for all 6 vacant parcels. So how they comb for that, I don't know. When we send out mailers, you can do rural homes or country homes. How they pick vacant parcels, I don't know.
Interesting. Well, people who like to rip off other people, there's no limit to how creative they can be.
That is true.
I've gotten phone calls before, and I know I never respond to them, but I've gotten like a voicemail that says, "Hey, this is Fred. Do you still are you still selling that land that you own out at such and such? And if you are, call me back. And I think they're looking for people to call them and
All
go, hey, I don't have that property. And they'll probably go, oh, well, what property do you have?
Yeah.
You know how that goes.
Yeah, I haven't experienced the phone call at all yet. I think
yeah?
I've only seen the letters, and like I said, I think that's what they want. They just want you to sign it and send it back.
Right.
And then, because it's a long ball game. They send out how many thousands of these mailers, and they only need a few to come back, so to have success. And they send them out regularly. If it's not monthly, bi-weekly, but I mean, I think people probably get one a month is a pretty conservative figure, and they just keep sending them out, and if anything they get back is a win. So
it's like mass marketing. It's like the robocalls that you get. It's mass marketing. If they do 1 million and they get 10 people to respond, well,
yep,
there's 10 people. So now, are these American companies that are doing this?
There's some are American investment companies, but some of them are foreign countries like China. We got one I think a couple years ago and tracked it. Look online, you track it. It's a Chinese company, so they're just trying to buy as much American land as they can. I think China owns about 400,000 acres in America right now, and there's a few other countries on the rise, Venezuela and a couple other ones.
Bill Gates.
Yep. There's a lot of prominent landowners in this country that own a lot, but trying to keep those foreign countries out of here is probably the main
you
goal.
don't want countries owning our land. No, that's not a recipe for success there by any stretch of the imagination. So I guess the advice that I would give then, based on what you've said, is that if especially older people, people usually need the money more than maybe some young people do. Not necessarily, but older people tend to be easier, I think, to take the bait than the younger people.
And I think they're definitely the demographic that they're targeting with these. Both because they may need the money, later in life.
Sure.
They may be running low, so it's a very appealing figure to them, and they might not know what their farm is actually worth or what that parcel is worth. And I was trying to think. I had a point here I was going to make. A lot of them they bought, they're astounded by the figure that's on there. It's a lowball figure to us now, but I'm sure they probably bought that parcel for a few $100s an acre if they bought it, decades ago. So they're looking at this current lowball price going, wow, I could never imagine the farm being worth that much, let alone just that parcel. And then you're thinking in your mind, well, I don't really use that 20 back there. Maybe I'll sell it.
I think the advice that I would give is if you get one of these letters in the mail and you own that parcel, call the pros. If they've got a number listed in there of what they're willing to pay, call a professional group like Hanson Realty Group and say, hey, if I sold this property, what would it be worth? And get a real opinion. And well, first of all, ignore the letter and just rip it up and throw it away. But because any reputable real estate firm is not going to send you a letter out of the blue. But if you're curious about what it might be worth, call a Realty Pro and find out.
Yeah, we'd be more than happy to take a look at it for you. It's not going to take very long. Just let us know what parcel it is, and we can take a quick look at it and give you a pretty good idea of what the value is going to be there. And it's probably going to be significantly higher than what's in their offer to purchase.
Caveat emptor. If it seems, it's like the old saying, if it seems, buyer beware and seller beware. And if it sounds like it's too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true.
And that's another thing that's in those letters that makes it appealing is they promise you the moon and the stars in there. Cash deal, no contingencies. We'll pay for all your closing costs, title insurance, and as is. And then if you read the fine print, they can back out at any time for any reason. You can't, but they can.
Absolutely.
So it just looks very appealing, especially somebody in if you're running low on finances or something, and especially if it's an older couple or person, maybe they don't have anybody to leave the farm to, and they're looking at it like, oh, we'll just take this as our retirement. I would still call one of us just to come take a look at it for you, because you don't want to leave money on the table, and if you take one of these, you're most likely going to leave a lot on the table.
If you've got elderly parents or elderly relatives, pass this information on to them so they know, because you're probably a lot more aware of what's going on with these scams than they are.
Yep.
Especially if you're in business or you spend more time on the internet or whatever the case may be. If you've got older family members or older parents, let them know what some of these scams are.
Yep, exactly. I would definitely take that to heart and do that and a lot of times, they don't want to burden their kids with their problems. So you may not know that they are running low on finances, and before you know it, they're selling a parcel here, a parcel there, and it whittles down faster than that person thinks.
It really does.
And it might be a parcel you deer hunt on.
Exactly. And then all of a sudden you're like, Mom, why'd you do that? Anyway, good advice. Yeah. Really good advice.
That'll be a rough Thanksgiving if something like that happens.
Yeah, no kidding. No wild turkey on the table. Maybe some wild turkey in your glass, but not on the table. All right. You've got a couple of properties that you want to talk about. One of them on Brecky Ridge Road outside of Blair. This is really kind of an interesting place.
It is. It's about 4 stories total, made of block, cinder block, and it's on 2 acres or a little over 2 acres. It's got in-floor heat on the living levels and in the garage, outdoor boiler, a high-efficiency boiler. So just a peaceful setting. You're only about, 10 minutes from Blair probably, but you're still out in the country. So it's just a nice setting. You got a drilled well, you got a septic system. There's a whole granary there, so you got some extra storage if you need it. It is an online-only auction, so we had the open house on Friday here, but it'll end on Monday at 6 p.m. We also have a personal property auction for this property as well, so that'll end on Tuesday the 19th, the day after. So if you're interested in the personal property, check that out as well. Otherwise, the real estate will start closing at 6 p.m. on Monday.
I'm looking at the pictures of this place. This place is so unique. I mean, it's I don't even know how to describe it. It's so unique.
It is very unique. Almost entirely comprised of cinder block, so it could withstand anything.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to be going anywhere anytime soon. That's
no.
for sure. And it is an online-only auction.
Correct.
Okay. And the second place you've got is up in Chippewa Falls.
Yeah, I got a nice house here up in Chippewa Falls, just reduced down to $399,900. So it's a split level, but it's 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It's on almost an acre, just under an acre, 0.98 acres. It's a split level. It's got an eat-in kitchen, tons of natural light, stainless steel appliances. It's got a beautiful deck and a walkout basement. It is super insulated, so it's very efficient. It's got electric heat, which a lot of people are turned off by, but these people said this is the most efficient heating home they've ever had. So don't be fooled. A natural gas furnace is not always the answer.
Is it electric baseboard heating?
Yep, baseboard heat and a couple wall AC units.
Oh.
But it keeps it plenty cool in summer, plenty warm in the winter. The one downfall of the forced air furnace is, it's always pushing air, so you're pushing air out, of weak spots. So boiler systems or the radiant heat, electric baseboard heaters, it's not moving air. It's just, the
just
heat
warming it up. That's pretty cool. I can imagine where that would be somewhat efficient.
Yeah, and they just added on a third garage. They had a 2-car attached garage, but they added on a huge 20 by 36 add-on. It's a drive-through, so you can go in the front, out the back with 2 9x7 doors, 10-foot ceiling, and it is all insulated. So it's a very nice property here.
That is now that's not an auction. That's an actual property for sale.
Correct. That's a conventional listing. So up in Chippewa Falls, you're only a few minutes from Chippewa, Lake Hallie, Eau Claire. So it's a pretty good location, pretty close to 29 there. So you can get out any way you want pretty quick.
All right, and you can check that out at hregroup.com, and it's the MLS number is on the website, so you'll be able to check that out if you want to take a look at it. Give Josh a call, and then if you are interested in that property out on Brecky Ridge Road, you can find that on the real estate website as well.
Yep, you'll find that on our real estate page or our regular auction page, Hanson Auction Group, so you'll be able to get to it both ways.
While you're there, sign up for auctions because it covers both property and home. It's easy to do. You just put in a password and an email address, and you're good to go.
Yep.
All right, well, there you go. Josh, good to see you, and both of these are pretty neat. Brecky Ridge Road outside of Blair and one up in Chippewa Falls, and watch out for those scammers.
Yep. Be aware.
All right. Thank you. Josh Baecker with Hanson Realty Group. A little bit of open house here on WHTL.